God forbid you just stop the car until the track is definitely clear. I mean,
When have you seen a hurricane in Texas? Well, it happened that day.
What's all-star about having every driver? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Good guy, ass. Good guy, can't drive a race car. Sorry.
You're listening to the Foreign Fuel Podcast.
hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Foreign Field Podcast. I'm your host, Dom Caplupo, joined by my co-host, Wesley Riddle. We're here for a Dollar Tree 301 at New Hampshire preview. Loudon, the Magic Mile, looking to create some more magic this weekend. Wes, how are you doing? New Hampshire this weekend, some would say underrated. I think for us, yeah, I have to say it is underrated, but I enjoy New Hampshire, and I mean, I'll talk more as we go into it, but how are you doing, Wes?
Doing pretty good. Looking forward to the race weekend that we have coming up. Um, yeah, I feel like New Hampshire is definitely still, and I'm not sure why, but still the most underappreciated racetrack that we go to on the schedule. So I think, you know, obviously going there twice. I guess there's been a few years we've gone there twice. Probably good to have it a one-off. I think that can be said for a lot of racetracks, but I really think that the racing product is always really good there. Even the races that we had a couple in the rain. Some of the racing that we had in those rain races were really entertaining. But aside from that, just on a dry racetrack, there's multiple different lanes you can take, and just watching the cars spread out and seeing just how they're able to try to defend passes, but also take different arcs into the corner. It makes for a really compelling and just kind of an eye-catching race, in my opinion. And I know for you, you've been to quite a few New Hampshire races. So what's kind of the perspective? We only see it from the TV side, and I know you've seen some TV ones too, but what's your perspective watching the race in person? And even just kind of what New Hampshire, the racetrack as a whole, kind of embodies, for a NASCAR race.
So New Hampshire is one of those racetracks that it is night and day between watching on TV and watching in person. TV can only capture so much, and TV likes to focus on the front runners. But when you're at the racetrack, you can pick and choose what battles you're looking at. And there are some dogfights that go on outside the top 10 that last all day long. Because who knows? Obviously, like last year, we saw what happened between Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs. I don't remember if TV was right on that when it happened, but I saw it building up for 5 to 10 laps. Ty Gibbs was just holding up Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin, who at the time, both those two were in the playoffs and Ty Gibbs wasn't. And this was coming towards the end of a stage where stage points were important, and they were battling for stage points, I think, right outside the top 10. Ty Gibbs might have been 10th at the time. And you could just see it building up for laps and laps. Hamlin and Bell were losing patience with Ty Gibbs. And then Hamlin finally, I was sitting in turn one. You could just saw Hamlin finally. He had enough and had to teach Ty Gibbs a lesson. And it's just stuff like that that you don't see on TV, the buildup of an incident that's about to happen. TV might catch on to the back end of it before the wreck happens, but when you're in person at New Hampshire, there are battles going on from anywhere from the top 5 all the way back to you've got guys running their guts out for 30th. And I think it's just very cool at New Hampshire. You could really go anywhere from the apron all the way to maybe not the outside wall as much, but still it's not single groove racing, and you can maneuver the lanes, and that's good for the next gen car, obviously. And it's been a good product, I'd say, the last couple of years that I've been going, because I've seen the first race I went there was 2017 in the fall race. Kyle Busch won that race. It was the playoff race there, and it's been good throughout. I've been there for rain shortened races, dark, races shortened for darkness. Been there for a Monday race. So I've kind of seen it all in New Hampshire, and I think it's lived up to what it is, and I wouldn't keep driving 5, 6 hours back each year I get to if it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, the tracks that are definitely the shortest on the schedule seem to have the worst TV coverage, which makes sense. You're not really able to capture it at Martinsville. I feel like that's a great track. We saw you and I were able to spot a lot of beating and banging, different moments in the race last October when we went. And same can be said for Bristol, where it's just, you're limited on TV to what you can see through the lens, but when you're in person, you can just pick and choose whatever battle you want. And New Hampshire is definitely a great example of that. Um, it's good that this race is not a chase race because I think that'll open up the chance for the broadcast to not really focus as much on the leaders. So hopefully we'll see good coverage throughout the whole field because there's always going to be some electric three wide battles or just two wide switching, changing lanes, trying to block. Um, I feel like arrow's a little bit important, but not as dependent here. It's more about the runs you can generate, entering the corner and off the corner, um, and just timing it right. So the timing is super critical here, and just making sure you're not going to lock up your tires to get loose in the corners. So, I'm glad that you're going to be able to go. It's definitely a track again on my bucket list that I really want to make it to, and I guess I don't know how many lobsters you'll see, but you're going to see somebody hold the lobster when they head to victory lane.
Absolutely. And it's just a really nice atmosphere up there. I feel like it's a good change of pace up in New Hampshire. Everything's very lax in the morning. At least last year, obviously, it was in September, so it was a little cooler. It was the start of fall, and I was there wearing a hoodie that day. I don't think I'll be needing that on Sunday this time since it's in August, but it was you get to the track really early and it's just like this just soothing calmness, I'd say, that you don't get at a lot of racetracks where it's kind of everything is kind of fast paced and like upbeat and louder even early in the morning. You get to New Hampshire, you park and you kind of get out and you just take in like the New England just like air, and it's really nice and unlike any other track I've been to. And it's a great experience. I feel like they know how to do the fan experience pretty well. And I swear, people in the Northeast love New Hampshire, and it's good to see that it's getting, no threat of losing its date. And I'm happy that it's not the All-Star race next year. And it will be in the chase again next year, as it was last year. And like it really was like the staple of the chase when it started. This is where it opened the chase, and next year I believe it'll be the second race of the chase. So we'll see how it goes then. And but for this year, we just get to enjoy a straight up race, which is no problem with that. And who knows what we'll see Sunday? Weather looks like it could be a little iffy. Are we going to get the wet weather tires? Are we going to potentially see a race to darkness? Potentially a race on Monday? Who knows? All the scenarios I've seen except the wet weather tires. I have not seen those in person yet, but I've seen the race get called due to darkness and a race on Monday there. So I wouldn't mind seeing some wet weather tire racing. It was pretty good when they did it a couple of years ago. So I mean, if it's up to Marcus Smith, they'll be getting the sprinklers out even if it isn't raining.
No, yeah, he's really interested in this wet weather I guess all-star race, which I mean it's something if you want a gimmick, but I feel like if we're gonna have rain, let it be natural, right?
Hmm.
And let's see it play out at a track like New Hampshire where yeah, the rain racing that we've had has been actually really good. It opens up the literally the outside line, like the pride and true outside line, rimming it around the outside of the racetrack, which is pretty darn cool. We saw a few of the guys do it when it rained the first time, which I think might have been was that 24,
Yeah.
and then it did a little bit last year, or was there another year? I can't remember. Maybe back in like
No,
2020.
say last year it was fine. 2021 is when it rained like really, really downpoured, and they had
No,
that where they went down into
Kyle
turn one.
Busch.
Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin all wrecked going into turn one
Yeah,
because it was raining.
yeah, and that was
And
that was pretty wild.
then it was like a 4 or 5 hour rain delay, and then they raced again, and they called the race 10 laps early due to darkness. And Eric Almirola, by virtue of the race only being 10 laps shorter, was able to hold off Christopher Bell, who may be the greatest driver at New Hampshire ever.
Oh yeah, Eric almost won there 2018, I think. 2018, he had a really good year, which he
Hmm.
ended up finishing fifth in points. But I think that was one of the races he had that was almost in the bag, and I think they lost it with a pit road stop at some
Hmm.
point. Yeah, so I think you're right. Almirola somehow just was able to connect at New Hampshire. Out of the races you've been to, I don't know what the number is if you're able to share, but what drivers have you seen win in person? So we've been racing at New Hampshire, I guess now since 1993.
So went in 2017 in the chase race. That was Kyle Busch. Um, the next one I can remember is 2020 when Brad Keselowski won that day. Then 2021, Almirola. 2022 was Bell. And
That
then,
was his three win year because I
yeah.
saw him win in Martinsville.
And then 2023, was it, did I go in 2023? Uh,
I
if
couldn't even tell you.
2023, no, because did Truex,
I had to pull it up. Was that his last?
was that, did
Was
Truex
that
win, did Truex win, because I,
we
yeah,
we come very prepared.
yeah, Truex, that's right. Truex did win that race because I remember going to Dover, Truex won, then Dover that
Yeah,
year was a Monday, Truex won. New Hampshire was on Monday that year, Truex won, and then Truex almost won Pocono when I went too. So it was
it was
almost like
very
the Truex trifecta in
very
the
fitting
Northeast.
though. He could get his last win in the Northeast.
Yeah. Was that really Truex's last win?
That New Hampshire win would have been his
That's his
last.
last career win. So I saw Truex's last win.
You did
Wow, that's crazy.
at New Hampshire because he went winless in 24.
Okay, so that one, and then didn't go in 24, but went last year, and Ryan Blaney won.
That's right. Yeah, last year
He
was
held off
Ryan
Josh
Blaney with.
Berry.
Yeah, that was a good battle there at the end. Um, I think, yeah, just crazy. New Hampshire, it's kind of always been in a strange place. I feel like timing wise in the year, but we've definitely had some good winners, some really good battles. I think to Harvick holding off Denny Hamlin. I think of the Almirola Bell, like what could have been.
Hmm.
Those last 10 laps really could have been sensational, with Bell kind of closing in at the end. And then Clint Boyer, 2007, kind of making a statement there, getting the win, which would I think that was the opening chase race. So
Hmm.
Clint Boyer in his second year, this was his sophomore year, which we expect to slump, ended up showing up and being a real contender for the championship and just what was his second full-time season. So, um, yeah, a lot of good memories when it comes to New Hampshire, but it's cool you've been able to be a part of some really cool races.
Yeah, you got to see, the battle between Hamlin and Gordon that same year in 2007 in the summer race where they drag race back to the finish line. This is the track where the race back to the
The
line kind
rule,
of got put to kibosh, put to squash because we almost got
Dale
Dale
Jarrett.
Jarrett killed.
Yeah, everybody forgot about the left foot. Left foot hitting the brake, not the gas pedal.
We've seen some big wrecks on restarts at New Hampshire.
Oh gosh, yeah.
We've seen Brad Keselowski and Austin Dillon
Oh, their
freaking
tempers.
tempers at each other. We've
Oh,
seen more,
Michael
more,
Waltrip and Robbie Gordon on the backstretch.
yeah,
Morgan Shepherd and Joey Logano.
Logano.
Oh man, Joey did not like Morgan Shepherd that day. Sure disrespected a Wood Brothers legend. Can't do that. I bet
He's
Joey can't roller skate.
no, probably not.
So Morgan, yeah, one of the last starts, I believe, of his illustrious Cup Series career. But Yeah, overall though, New Hampshire just a fun track. It definitely is a driver's track. I also remember Martin Truex Jr. Speaking of, this was the race when Dale Earnhardt Jr. had his accident doing the sports car race at Sonoma when he caught on fire as a kid. That was a crazy thing to kind of witness, but Martin Truex Jr. stepped in one of his first starts, and it might have been his first actual start, but more of a relief driver, and filled in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. that race back in 2004, I believe,
Hmm.
or sometime around then. Um, but it was yeah, it's always been a great track. So yeah, glad you're going to be able to go. But I know for me, it's going to be hopefully a track maybe next year I can make it to.
That'd be awesome. So again, if you're out there, I hope to, if anyone's out there, just look for me out there. I'm pretty easy to spot, I'd say. I'll probably be wearing something Denny Hamlin, so one of the only people probably wearing Denny Hamlin stuff. So we'll see. Well, Wes, there's so many New Hampshire races, and then with that comes, a lot to choose from in your bank here of way back moments.
I guess I've always got to give you one shot for a year that I could have picked. I don't know if you're going to get
Man.
this one, but
Oh, man.
I went way
Well,
back,
so we talk. I was gonna guess 2001.
2001. That would have been a good one, but I did not actually go 2001. I went back to what would have been, let's see, three, four, five, the fourth year of the race. So I went back to 1996. I might have talked about it once earlier this year, but 1996 was one of the. I had a lot of DVDs or old VHS tapes where it had the year in review, and Alan Bestwick would commentate over it, and it was like an hour and a half long. And I remember watching 1996 more than anyone, even though I was a diehard Jeff Gordon fan. This one hurt every time we made it to the end. But this race was pretty special for a couple different reasons. And I guess just to kind of summarize the whole thing, it was huge because of Ernie Irvan. Ernie Irvan, who had been out for a majority of the year prior, and then after the incident that he had at Michigan that took him out of competition, um, for a while, Ernie Irvan was finally able to get back to victory lane. This was his first win, and it was super emotional at the time because Ernie Irvan, I think a lot of people considered what was one of the, if it wasn't Bill Elliott or the up and comer Jeff Gordon, or it wasn't the Intimidator Dale Earnhardt, the guy right there in the fan favorite mix. For any fan you talk about throwing it back to the 90s was Ernie Irvan. Like people forget how big of a just a superstar and household name he was, just because unfortunately the incidents took him out um, twice in Michigan. So tragic for him, but this moment was super special watching the 28 car get back into victory lane after he had come close a few times after his return in 1995. I think he made the last three starts of the year and almost won in his first start back. But this was the race that kind of got his footing back. And granted, the results didn't come a lot of years later, but I think a lot of that was just with the declining of maybe the team's performance as a whole, just for what they had at that time. Because Ernie still had the driving abilities, even despite the significant hurdles he had to overcome. So it was huge for Ernie. A lot of fuel mileage played in at the end of the race, but I think he had plenty to still get into first place and also had one of the best cars of the race. So it was a very deserving win for him. Um, there wasn't a whole lot that happened in the race aside from a few incidents. One early on between Joe Nemechek and Dale Jarrett, where they spun off turn two. I think Jeff Gordon got in the back of Dale Jarrett. John Andretti had a really hard crash on the 37 car that took him out at one point. I think he ended up finishing in dead last in the race. Joe Nemechek ended up having a wreck pretty late that kind of threw some of the strategy off for what was almost the last 100 laps of the race. But only one guy did not make the race. It was Loy Allen Jr., who was, of course, known for his poles that he had at Daytona and Talladega, I think that same year or a couple years prior. Um, Ernie Irvan, like I said, he won, led 38 laps That was not the race high though. Race high was led by Jeff Gordon, who ended up going out behind the wall due to an ignition issue, and he finished all the way back in 34th. But that it's one of those races just like that. Daytona, I can't remember the second race. It might have been at Rockingham. All those races together. Maybe he won Rockingham. I can't remember what came after Daytona. But either way, these are with the season long points. It was this kind of finish that took Jeff Gordon out of the championship because he only missed by like 14 points or something like that come the end of the year. Dom, this is a question for you. One driver in this race was non-American. He was from Canada. Would you happen to have any guesses as
Oh,
to what
geez.
Canadian made a start in the NASCAR Cup Series? Guess now we'll throw it back. The Winston Cup
Oh,
in
goodness.
1996.
I don't
One
even
of
know.
five starts in Cup.
Oh, he only made 5 starts. So I don't know if this is. I don't even know a guy that would only make 5 starts in the Cup Series. Oh, goodness. Especially
Well,
that far back.
dude, it's a name that I forgot about, and I think a lot of people did because this guy did race full time in trucks for a couple different years.
Did
Uh,
he? Man, you might have to give me the initials. Maybe I'll.
RM.
Yeah, that's
It's
not helping me. That's not helping me either.
it's a shot. I can give you another couple hints. He was a former team owner, longtime team owner,
Longtime team owner in trucks or Cup.
and all three,
All three?
all three. In fact, he fielded, I think, up to 2012 in the Busch Series or O'Reilly, whatever, nationwide O'Reilly, whatever we want to call it now.
Oh man, I am blanking so hard. I don't know.
Gosh, it's going to be a tough one to guess because I don't think I would have got it.
I
I'm talking about Randy McDonald.
would have never got that. I would have never got that.
Oh, Randy McDonald. He did not have a farm, but he sure had a car. Randy, um, interestingly enough, and you'll remember this, when Reed Sorensen was let go by Turner Motorsports right there when he was competing for the championship and he had to step into another ride, he stepped in for Randy McDonald. Randy was struggling for sponsorship, and Reed was somebody that could kind of hold that team together to the end of the year. So those last 4 starts that took Reed out of the shop to win the championship, he raced for McDonald Motorsports.
Okay.
So that was the underfunded car that he had competed for at the end of that 2011 season. Um, Randy in this race was actually sponsored by Diamond Rio. Diamond Rio was the sponsor of his 5 Cup Series starts. And for me, that's actually special because my mom and dad, their first dance song was a Diamond Rio song. It was One More Day. And then sure enough, my mom, she passed away in 2024. I played One More Day at her funeral
Mhm.
to recognize their first dance. So I didn't know that he was actually sponsored by Diamond Rio. But if you're a country fan, Diamond Rio is one of the best to ever do it. So that was pretty cool just to kind of see how that tied back together. But just a little tidbit there. He finished 32nd in the race, but representing Canada. And I think he made a Pinty series start in there too. But yeah, just having a little bit of a legacy here in the Cup Series. So forgotten driver, but yes, was in this race. Looking at the top five, Ernie Irvan, Dale Jarrett, who was spun out early, came back to finish in second place. Ricky Rudd had one of his better finishes in this later half of his career. I guess he won, was it 96, the Indy, the Brickyard?
Yeah.
So he won the Brickyard, but this is kind of where Ricky kind of had a little downfall with his team and their performance, but still finished in third. Jeff Burton came home in fourth, and Robert Presley, this was his second top five in his NASCAR Winston Cup Series career. He ended up finishing fifth for Leo Jackson. So, of course, Leo Jackson being the team that Harry Gant in that 33 car used to race for. So, kind of on the back end, but he was in the Skull Bandit car. So it's cool seeing the Skull Bandit finish back inside the top five. Then yeah, real quick, Terry Labonte sixth, Rusty Wallace seventh, Kenny Schrader in eighth, Johnny Benson in ninth. That was in the cool 30 car that I used to play in the NASCAR. Gosh, 96 game. or one of the old games, 98 maybe. And then in 10th place was Michael Waltrip for the Wood Brothers. So um yeah, just a few little incidents in there, but I did want to highlight Ernie Irvan in particular because he's just hope he's doing well. You know, he's somebody we don't really think about a whole lot, but his importance and success and accomplishments throughout the 90s, which is pretty much the only area he was really just a big dominant presence in. You know, he was the guy, and I think could have gone down without question one of the best drivers in NASCAR history if, you know, the Michigan unfortunate didn't strike him. But yeah, he was incredible talent, so it was really cool. Even as a kid, I know I didn't watch this race or remember it live, just going back and watching the highlights from it. So shout out to Ernie Irvan.
Good old Swervin' Irvin.
Oh yeah, everybody's favorite. He
So
the real this was if you want to talk about intimidators, this might have been the real intimidator because there was nobody that ruffled feathers the wrong way like Ernie Irvan.
yeah, no, absolutely. So pretty cool to go back there. And yeah, if there were such things as stages and stage points, Jeff Gordon would have won the championship pretty easily in '96. I feel like would have
Yeah,
helped him if
90.
he got more than just 34th place points that day.
It was the first two races of 96 Gordon did not finish the race.
Hmm.
And then this race was I think the third and then he had one kind of a little later in the season and
I think
those
like
were the
Charlotte.
might have been Charlotte, yeah. But yeah, Daytona, I still have a VHS tape recording of the 1996 Daytona 500 as it was live on television. And I used to put it in the TV and always get so sad because he was always out of the race. Like it's that thing. It's you watch a movie and you expect it to be a little bit different, and it's never different. It's exactly what you know is going to happen.
Wasn't
That's
that the one he
exactly how
wrecked
I
like
felt.
off of four?
Yeah, off turn four. I think it was the wind was kind of rough, and Jeremy Mayfield they were kind of on the outside there, and it just didn't work out. I think Steve Grissom was in the wreck and a few other guys, but
Mm.
um, yeah, that's a heartbreaking Jeff Gordon memory for sure, especially as a kid that had to put in that always was curious to put in that VHS, but always ended up crying and having a temper tantrum over nothing.
Well, Wes, one thing for this race this weekend, John Hunter Nemechek's to be driving the 40 car instead of the 42. Same team, same owner point, same everything, just changing the number to the 40 for Dollar Tree's 40th anniversary. Now, Wes, I got a little trivia question for you. The number 40 car, when was the last time the number 40 won in the NASCAR Cup Series?
No, wow. The last time the 41 in the NASCAR Cup Series. Okay. Well, I know Jamie McMurray won in 2002 in the fall Coke race, but now I'm trying to think if there's been a 40 car winner since. I mean, David Stremme was in the car. Oh man. Is it Jamie McMurray?
It is.
I didn't want to. If you told me no, I would have thought about it a little more. But yeah, Jamie McMurray in
Hmm.
2002 in a second career start.
Yep. The last time the 40 car went to victory lane.
Could have almost said David Stremme in 2007 in the Coke 600.
Almost.
I don't know where he ended up finishing, but top 10, I guess.
Man. Well, fast forwarding to this weekend, we got to take some underdog drivers. So just kind of taking a look here. For me, somebody I'm looking at to have a good run, and it's probably low hanging fruit, but it's Josh Berry. And maybe he's not such an underdog after the last few weeks. They've had a great stretch of races. That 21 team, three top tens in a row, I believe, which is really good for that team. And Josh Berry in his two starts, he has finishes of third and second. One in the four car for Stuart Haas, and then last year in the Wood Brothers car, which honestly, at the end of that race, I think he was faster than Blaney. But I think he kind of cut Blaney some slack as Blaney was still in the playoffs. said Blaine needed the win to advance. So Josh Berry might be one to look out for. Don't be surprised if he's in that top five, maybe even having a chance to battle it out for the win on Sunday.
And yeah, Barry's they're kind of on a roll. That's what Steve and I talked about on the last episode, just that Barry included in that mix. These tracks line up really well for the Penske and Josh Berry Wood Brothers team. So
Yeah,
um,
now right now that 21 is a Penske car, but once they fall off again, it's a Wood Brothers car, like
yeah,
people like to say.
oh yeah, um, I, that's true. It's so weird how that narrative can switch. It's like yeah, the moment he's running bad, it's like well, it's like which one is it? Like come on, it's not just whatever wherever he finishes is what team he's driving, what car he's driving that week. But um, anywho, I guess for my underdog, I don't really. This is going to be, I feel like a race just dominated by the guys we expect up front. But I'm going to go with the
Hmm.
guy that did really well in the rain race because if it does rain, I think he's going to be up front again, and that was Michael McDowell. I think McDowell, he ended up wrecking, I think, Ryan Blaney at some
Hmm.
point late.
Yeah.
Blaney seemed to be the only guy that could really contend with Christopher Bell. It seemed like the two would kind of switch back and forth most of that race in 2024. But yeah, McDowell was also right there in the mix. He probably had the second even a race winning capable car, but was a top 3, 5 guy in the range. So, and McDowell is definitely due for a good run on something that's not a road course. I think McDowell's already finished top 10 here a couple times before. So there's some hope, I think, for Michael McDowell to, he's not going to probably make the chase this year. Um, he's just a little bit too far back, but he's consistent enough. And if he nails the setup right with the team, I think he'll be somebody contending inside the top 10, especially if we get the track a little bit wet. He's got the driving ability to be able to handle that thing and get it around to a really good finish.
Absolutely. So let's while we're talking drivers, let's get into I know it's your favorite part of the show, our fantasy picks here, fantasy draft.
Yeah, that let's be real.
It's a good thing after Daytona we get a good points reset. Catch our back up to Steve because Steve leads myself by 218 points, Sam in third by 284 points, and Wes, you are only 420 points back of Steve.
Well, when you pick Cole Custer and Herbst and Bowman and Indy, and then I probably had more. I think I've missed more episodes for Thursdays and have had quite a lot of bad draws with the random the randomness. So uh yeah, there's no hope for me at this point. Doesn't matter who I pick. So um
But good news is you get to go first this week.
shoot, that I think every time I've gone first. Let's see. One, two. Okay, let's see. The last 3 times I've gone first, do you want to know what my points have gotten me? Ryan Blaney, 29 points at North Wilkesboro. San Diego, SVG got me 1 point. Charlotte, Chase Elliott got me 1 point. So, yeah, the last 3 times I've gotten first, I have a combined total of 31 points, which, in fact, uh, yeah, 31 points is probably the record low for anybody. I mean,
Some would say it's impressive.
and yeah, someone say I shouldn't be picking. So definitely don't listen to who I've got this week. But I guess I'll try to take the obvious just to try to make up something, and it's not gonna work. I'll probably jinx the hell out of him. Give me Christopher Bell.
Christopher Bell. Will he be a winner? Will he be the second place driver he is? Or will he break? Well, I get to go second, and I'm going to take the other favorite here, and I'm taking Ryan Blaney, your defending winner, which then Sam gets, let's look at these average finishes, which means Sam gets Josh Berry.
He's on a roll right now.
Not too bad of a pick, honestly.
That'll take it over to Steve, who looks like he'll end up with Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson. Another trivia question, Wes. Do you remember the last time Hendrick Motorsports won at New Hampshire?
Oh, was it what we talked about with Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin, 2007? Or did Denny win that race?
Denny won that race.
That was his only win in 2007.
Yes, it was.
So,
But it was after
Lar
that.
would it?
It's after that.
Okay, that did Larson win?
No.
Shoot, man. Okay, aside from that, it's got to be a Jimmy one-off.
Nope.
Oh,
It's
Mark
not.
Martin.
No.
I'm missing somebody
Man, you're
obvious, aren't
you're
I?
you're beating right around the bush right now.
Is there a Casey Kane
Casey Kane,
in 2000, what,
12.
12?
2012, Casey Kane.
No, 12. Wow, that's a long. I think Larson could break it this week. I think Larson's due for a good run. So that's a good pick for Sam and for Steve, the Barry and Larson combo there.
And
And
then
that'll
that
actually take it back. Yeah.
he's getting Chase Briscoe as well. Looking at his numbers, Chase Briscoe, 7.3 average finish here in the last three races there. Pretty good for Briscoe, which then Sam will get Tyler Reddick. Talk about a guy who needs something to go right. Is Reddick in the where let's see where Reddick is and if he is within striking distance of second. I mean, he's only 23 back of Blaney, but
Reddick and I have lost about the same amount of points since Coronado on the field.
oh man, well after Reddick it goes back to me here and I mean I gotta take the other guy who's just on an absolute heater right now. Joey Logano.
And that'll take it back to me. I'll I'll hope he'll I hope he'll make me happy in some way. Uh Give me Denny Hamlin. Denny's gonna finish top five.
Hamlin has 11 consecutive top five finishes on non-drafting ovals.
God, yeah, just he and just all of Toyota. It's just the Gibbs camp is just on. Even when Penske's having their best days, they're still also having their best days. Like
I
they're just
mean, it's Hamlin's been kind of quiet the past month, and he's just keeps finishing top five.
he's kind of doing what
That's
when
quiet
Hamlin
for the 11 team. If
when
this is
Hamlin
top
was
five now,
winning. Yeah, when Hamlin was winning, you had Reddick or you had Briscoe, Bell, and Gibbs running behind them second to fifth, and now it's just kind of swapped. So yeah, you kind of see the Gibbs are one guy's always hitting it a little bit better than the others. Just kind of depends on what the track is and where they're at. Um, I think I think we talked about it on the podcast, Tom. I thought Ty Gibbs might have had the car to beat at Richmond. I didn't get to watch it all, but without that
hmm
speeding penalty, he might have been a real factor
but
with Chase Briscoe and
this is getting to be a trend though for Ty Gibbs. Like the pit road penalties and the pit road mistakes, they're adding up. It feels like every week that team is really fast, but they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot on pit road.
yeah,
And that's not what you can afford to do in the chase. When you
especially
have
when
teams like Denny Hamlin, who's going to already have a 25-point jump on the field, you
yeah,
can't have mistakes like that.
and you're throwing away race wins. Like he definitely would have had a shot. I think,
Wins, stage points. I mean,
gosh, yeah, he could have made up the difference to get ahead of Blaney in the points,
mhm.
just with having the, but granted, Blaney, the strategy was kind of a bad call on their part. So, yeah, but yeah, I think Gibbs seemed like he was kind of right there, I think, with Christopher Bell. I mean, not with Christopher Bell, with Chase Briscoe and Logano, if just the penalty didn't happen. So, do I say that to pick him though? I don't know. I don't know how he's done to New Hampshire. So I'll take Hmm. I had to look a little bit just to try to figure out who my last pick is here. It's not going to matter. I might as well throw in the towel and take Cody Ware. I mean, I blame the average finishes. It's really been the average finishes that have done me in. So, you know what? I'm going to take the guy that showed up here last year. I think he's actually going to get the finish he needs. Shane Van Gisbergen.
SVG.
I think he's going to run top 10 all day.
Top 10 all day. Is that a hot take? Maybe. Man, look at all these guys. Just got people that struggle. But there's a guy who finished top 5 last year, I believe. Did he finish top 5? No, he didn't finish top 5. I don't know what happened to him last year, why he wasn't a part of the Penske brigade. But I think he's going to continue his momentum from last week,
I almost picked him.
and that's going to be Austin Cindric. So I just got all of Penske.
My hot take on the last episode. Uh, I think Austin Cindric has a good chance to finish with the way the tracks are in the chase. I think he could finish top 8 in points.
Really?
Darlington, Bristol, Richmond, Gateway, Talladega. Like there's
Phoenix is
a
probably,
Phoenix, like all those tracks. That's where Penske's shown up, and I think Cinder could really make up some points on some guys that struggle.
all right, all right. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. We go back to Sam, and he is going to be getting the Chase Elliott. And then Steve, he's going to close us out with he's going to get your underdog pick,
There we go.
Michael McDowell.
I hope for a little rain. But I even think without rain, I think Michael can run top 15.
It's possible. I mean, it's not impossible. It's not impossible at all. So just to recap, Steve, your points leader is going with Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe, and Michael McDowell. Myself at second, I'm going with Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric. Sam in third is going with Josh Berry, Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott. And Wes is going with Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, and Shane Van Gisbergen. Well, Wes, we also have trucks this weekend and the modifieds. Always a fun modified race to watch at
Oh
New
yeah.
Hampshire.
Yeah, this might be the best weekend on the schedule just for some incredible just we don't get to see the modifieds a whole lot paired up, especially with NASCAR aside from here in Martinsville. So it's good that they're able to um get their justice. I had this thought earlier in the week, not to go off on a tangent, but I'm really disappointed that NASCAR, our Cup Series here in America, does not do the job it needs to do to make the NASCAR Mexico Series and the NASCAR Pinty Series in Mexico and Canada, respectively, more of a like staple for, just to encompass all of North America. Because I really think that we're missing out on some incredible races because we don't cover them. And I think it's a shame. I think that we should do a lot better with that.
If you honestly, your typical fan probably doesn't even know those series exist.
Oh
And
yeah.
really, no one like the only time the NASCAR Mexico series is semi brought up is if you talk about where like Daniel Suarez got his start.
And that's about it, right?
That's
Like,
really it. No one talks about the Pinty series at all.
yeah, and I think it's a disservice to the talent that motorsports has outside of the United States
Hmm.
because these guys are arguably cup level, like cup talent drivers. They could compete with the best guys if they have the right opportunity, if they have the right testing time, the right seat time. It's just we're never going to talk about them because they're
Hmm.
not included in our series here. But I just wish there was. I know we don't compete internationally, but I wish there was a way where we could just make it more of a focal point. It's not yeah, like I said, I didn't want to go off on a tangent about it, but
Well, I mean,
I thought about that last week.
you look at series like the Cars Tour and stuff, and how much like publicity that gets now.
Yeah,
And granted, that's you got like ownership stakes now with Dale Jr., Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, Marcus Smith, Justin Marks. So that really helps push a series. But yeah, I mean, these are NASCAR sanctioned series. And really, even like the modifieds, yeah, you do get to hear about them a little bit on like Door Bumper Clear. But
right.
outside of that, like they don't like they do their like weekend winners segment now on Door Bumper Clear. They don't talk about the Mexico Series winners or the Pinty Series winners.
And I just wonder what their answer would be if you asked them why. I don't know. Like, there's if you really want to establish just a motorsports platform, you'd think they'd encompass their own, title series. They have two of them that are
Hmm.
huge, and you know they get great attendance in their own respective countries. So why I just don't understand why we don't cover it enough. Like
Hmm.
Germán Quiroga, he races full time. When's the last time anybody's ever talked about him? Have
Like,
people just written him off? It just feels like it, right? But
yeah, like
he's
he's not in the truck series, so he's just
right.
doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah. And like we saw Max Gutierrez make some starts last year, I think in the truck series,
Hmm.
did decent. I think he raced at Martinsville. I don't know if we saw him in October, if I saw him when I went in April, but um yeah, just like some great talent over there. And I think that NASCAR here in America could do a much better job at giving them the attention and showing their races and highlighting the drivers and doing features on them just like they do for Cars Tour and ARCA drivers.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to make them sound like better series. I'm not trying to make them, ARCA sound better or Cars Tour sound better, but we have one huge driver pool, and I feel like everybody can be encompassed in it. We shouldn't look at it just in like the hierarchical, or I don't know how you'd say that, but the hierarchy sense of the Cup Series, Riley, like Truck Series. There's incredible talent in Canada, incredible talent in Mexico, and honestly, a lot of these guys, if the funding was right, they could be racing in the Cup Series and could be considered some of the best we'd ever have. But we just don't give them the platform. I feel like that we should already have established for them.
So I'm looking at the Pinty Series standings right now. The points leader, I bet no one even knows the name. Mark Antoine Cameron.
I don't know much about him, but did he win last year?
I don't know, but he's got 7 wins and 11 races this season.
Well,
So, like, no one knows about that domination he has of that series. And you
mhm.
look at DJ Kennington, he's fourth in standings,
He's been a long time competitor there, but
and people would only know him as just a back marker, like at Daytona in the
yeah,
96 car.
right.
Alex Tagliani, he's seventh in points,
I don't. He's raced there multiple seasons too.
and
He's been
people
around a
only
while.
know him when he drove like the 22 Penske car in the Nationwide
Yeah,
Series at like Montreal.
right. Think
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see them maybe try to do a weekend with the Truck Series next year at Canadian Tire.
oh yeah.
I'd have to assume they will. Alex Labay, he's done 5 races this year.
Yeah. There's been some Cup guys that have actually gone and raced in the Penny Series. I think Kevin Harvick's done one. Could be wrong.
Rafael
Um,
Lessard has done a start this season. That's a name we haven't heard in a long time.
he was getting his rhythm going when he was let go by Cobblish for sponsorship
Hmm
issues with funding there.
Andrew Ranger, we've seen him jump in a car for road courses.
A couple times this year in the O'Reilly Series,
Hmm
ARCA Series, I think too.
I mean, you got is Sam Fellows related to Ron Fellows?
I don't know, but there's a strong chance.
I mean, that those are just some names there in the Pinty series, like that are pretty big names and people
Um,
know about. And
and
like looking at the Mexico series,
well, Ruben Garcia is the big one. You got Ruben Garcia, um, yeah, Max Gutierrez. Trying to think of who else. I think Eloy Falcon.
hmm
He won a few races last year, I think too. Another just good established kid.
yeah,
I don't,
say they've.
and I
I
hate to
mean,
say I don't know, but I'm just if
but
we
this
how are
is,
we exposed to it, you know?
but this is here. This is where we're at with the Mexico series. They've done two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight races so far. On Racing Reference, only the first three results are available.
And it's
The
funny
last
that
race they updated for results was on April 26th. So
NASCAR bought them out.
you can't even look at the results of the last five races on Racing Reference.
The sanction body that controls their organization that bought the website that does the results has not updated any results for them. That
Yeah.
doesn't, there's some misalignment there for sure. Um, it's stuff like that that's, I don't know. It blows my mind still that
hmm
it just they don't get the coverage. And I know like I'm not versed well enough in it, but I would be if they had a platform for us to be able to actively be engaged in, and
Yeah.
if there was a way to be able to easily get these all, you know, for us to watch, eyes on it. And I think they might stream it on their NASCAR Mexico channel and their Pinty Series channel, but
You're not
it's
getting that
just not,
advertised.
there's no advertisement, no scheduled postings. Like they post the ARCA schedule on the NASCAR.com, like weekend schedule listings. But why aren't they included,
Hmm
And then the cars, like you said on the podcast, they don't get any recognition. It's like they just don't even exist, yet they're
Yeah.
sanctioned by NASCAR.
hmm
That's very strange.
And honestly, with it not getting so much coverage, who knows? Like, if there was more coverage of it, you probably have more like team owners and scouts like scouting these guys out for maybe a truck ride, an O'Reilly ride, or a Cup ride to like
Yeah,
kind of bring into like a development program.
right. Oh, 100%. There was I don't know if he made any starts, but um, I'm trying to think of who wanted to look it up real quick. But somebody that had been pretty impressive. Wanted to find. Yeah, it was Toro, Esteban Rodriguez. Esteban was somebody that was making a few starts. I don't know if he ever raced in the Mexico Series, but he is from Monterrey and he's been racing for some underfunded teams, but he's looked pretty good, I think, in ARCA for a guy that's underfunded. He raced at Iowa in
Hmm
his 13th. Um, but just an example. And I think, yeah, I still think back to Max Gutierrez. I don't think he got the the funding maybe, but he was a driver that seemed like he could have been really capable of something. And I had to pull it up. Back when AM racing was a thing, he finished eighth in Nashville in
hmm
2022 in his second start. Four starts, or actually five starts, finished eighth in Nashville for AM racing. That's an underfunded team. That's a team that doesn't even exist anymore. Like, yeah, won an ARCA East race, and I think I watched that when he won the opener in 2021. So yeah, just I did kind of open the rabbit hole, but I'm glad you were able to talk about it too, just to
Yeah,
kind of highlight something that I feel like is just a missed opportunity all around.
no, 100%. So I mean, hopefully someone hears this that cares and we can get something done with that.
Oh yeah. And it wouldn't be as hard as just having a team that actually puts the effort into, you know, granted you'd have to find some budget for travel, but it's worth it. Like these are drivers that want to make it, and compete with the best. And we'll never know if their guys are the best, and we
Yeah.
don't have the best, right?
Hmm.
There's nothing to really draw a comparison between the two because the cars they race are totally different, both in Canada and in Mexico. So it'd be fun to watch an exhibition race where
Hmm.
we could get all three series together on a track and have three races going on at once, or find a way where we can get them all in the same car and have like kind of an IROC theme race, but with the best in each series to kind of
Yeah.
represent. Take the three best from the Pinty, three best from the Cup Series, O'Reilly Series, Truck Series, Mexico Series, and maybe the ARCA Series, and just have like a showcase like that.
Hmm.
Just something like that would be
Pretty
not
cool.
not a Marcus Smith, let's put rain on a racetrack. Like, are you kidding? Let's do something like that where we actually encompass what NASCAR is. And we even have the NASCAR Euro Series. We didn't even touch on
Hmm.
the Euro
Yeah,
Series. Where's the highlights and coverage of that? Just inexistent.
that's right.
And, something like that I'd be game for that. Let's get them all
Hmm.
at the GoPlex,
There we go.
Trackhouse GoPlex.
There we go. I like it. I like it.
Anyway, yeah, I guess just to tie it back into New Hampshire though, you had mentioned that the O'Reilly series is off. So we've just got the Cup Series, the Truck Series, and like you said, the Wheel and Modifieds will be racing there. But the Truck Series race, man, it is stacked.
Hmm.
I don't know if you looked at the entry list, but it is pretty
Yeah,
pretty
peeking at it
dang
right
stacked.
now, it is pretty good.
Um, there's
If you want to highlight some of
yeah,
the
yeah.
guys in
Um,
here.
it's It's hard to preface exactly how good this looks, but it's pretty interesting. We've got and the one Gavin Bichel's back. This will be his second start, who I think finished top 10 in his debut race that he had. Was it at Iowa?
Hmm.
We've got Luke Baldwin back. He's going to be in the number two. Connor Hall's going to make another start for Nice. Hopefully this will go a little bit better for him. He's had a couple misfortunate races, but he'll be in the number four. John Hunter Nemechek is going to probably have the best ride he's ever had, even better than the Kyle Busch equipment, just with how good Tricon is. But he'll
Hmm.
be stepping in for Tricon in the five. Connor Mozak's back for one of his starts here in the seven car for Spire. He's had some pretty solid runs this year. Good to see Mason Massey back in the series. Mason's contending for the ARCA, I guess it'd be the ARCA West Championship, and it was won a couple times this year. I think he won the season opener, and then he won, was it Lime Rock? He won somewhere else. I can't remember. But Mason's had some good runs, but now he's going to be in the Truck Series race here. So stepping in for McAnally Hickleman in the 20 car. Um, Patrick Emmerling, who's got the best chance he's ever had to win the Wheel and Modified Championship this year. I don't know what number full time year this is for him, but he's I think won three of the last four races. Now has the best chance to win the championship he's had. He hasn't won a New Hampshire in modifieds, but I think he's finished top five like 9, 10 times. So Patrick's not really in the best, not in the best truck, but he's going to have at least a contending race where he'll be somewhat competitive in the 22. Um, I didn't know Colin Braun was back. Colin Braun will be in the
Hmm.
25 with Tony Breidinger in the 26. Patrick Eatman in the 42. Or Parker Eatman, I'm sorry, but Parker's had some good qualifying runs, some good pace. Landon Lewis back in the 45. Christopher Bell and Michael Christopher Jr. are going to make starts in the second and third. Uh, Hallmark Friesen trucks alongside Stuart Friesen. So that'll be pretty interesting to see how they do as a three-car operation. I think, man, I think Michael Christopher could really have a good shot to get a top five. He had some good pace here last year, just made some mistakes. But he with Christopher Bell and Stuart Friesen, that's a good team. Connor Zilish is with Spire in the 71. Tristan McKee is also going to be his teammate. This will be his second start after he had a really impressive run at Richmond in his debut. And then D.L. Wilson, who's competed in the ARCA E Series. This is actually his first start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So stepping in to race for Caleb Costner and his team. So it'll be, not the best equipment, but he's just a good dude all around. Listen to some of his interviews, and he's just really wholesome. Kind of on the older side, but he's got he's fulfilling his dream, and that's just to race. So pretty stacked there in the Truck Series, and then Cup Series, pretty standard. We've just got our 36 chartered entries. Pretty basic race there. But are you looking forward to anything there in the Truck Series race?
Well, it's the last race before the chase, and your cutoff line, you got Stuart Friesen, who's in 11th right now, first guy out, 20 points behind Tyler Ankrum, and Jake Garcia is 21 points behind Tyler Ankrum. I mean, if something happens to Daniel Hemrick, maybe there's a chance to catch him, but Friesen is 35 points behind him. So
Yeah, and
really, Friesen needs to have a hell of a run, like top 5 stage points, both stages, and top 5 finish, and hope Ankrum's just outside the top 10 all day to get in. Same with Jake Garcia, but I don't see it happening from those guys, especially with the field we got racing this weekend.
I had family in town when Stuart Friesen was racing at Richmond. But did you happen to catch what happened to him? How did he
No,
finish dead last?
I didn't get to see the trucks.
Gosh, that's a bummer for Friesen because I was just hoping that he'd have the comeback year he needed. But yeah, that dead last finish really just killed him in points.
Yeah.
But granted, the Truck Series this year has really been topsy-turvy for a lot of guys you would expect to be good, just with how, Rams run. You'd expect the McAnally guys to be a little bit better, but like you look at Daniel Hemrick, like you'd think Hemrick would be top 5 in points, but their team just hasn't hit the nail like they've needed to. Same with Tyler Ankrum, had a really good season last year, and this year he's been pretty much irrelevant. Christian Eckes has had good runs, but also some little errors and issues that have taken him out of some races. You'd think Gio Ruggiero would be finishing better. He's only had 4 top 10s or 4 top 5s this year. Same with Majeski. He's been up and down all year. Enfinger up and down all year. Ben Rhodes up and down all year. It's just, I don't know. There's very interesting Truck Series season where there's not really a lot of consistency throughout the field.
Yeah, it's feels like it's going to be a Lane Riggs, Caden Honeycutt battle for the championship with maybe Chandler Smith knocking on the outside if
Yeah.
something happens to those two.
Yeah. The Chandler Smith's kind of the only guy right there, but it just doesn't ever seem to have the pace to match Riggs, who I think Riggs is cup ready. I think Caden Honeycutt could also be cup ready. I think he's right there too, to be honest. I know they
Mhm.
don't really have the wins like a Corey Heim, but I also don't think that the situations have been lined up for them at the right times to be able to match something like that. So,
Like I saw
uh,
a stat today that if Lane Riggs led every single lap remaining this season, he would still have like 100 less laps led than Corey Heim last year.
wow. Mm, that's that's unreal.
I mean,
And Riggs is having a great year.
Corey Heim missed how many? Didn't do like 7 races this season, 7 or 8 races this season in trucks, and he's only 50. He's 48 points out of the chase.
He's missed 10 races.
He's missed 10 races. He is 48 points out of the chase.
So if he raced at New Hampshire and just had a lights out showcase,
He'd probably
you
just
know,
get in,
just get in
even
at
though they
the
won't
10th
let him. But
spot. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, Corey Heim is that good, but I still think Lane Riggs is also kind of right there too. It's just,
well, here's the thing: front row, if they're not careful, they're going to lose late rigs
oh yeah.
because now you're kind of kicking the can for another year. Like Lane Riggs, is he just going to stay in trucks again next year? But I mean, hey, if you're Lane Riggs, you kind of look at what Corey Heim did, and he was patient, knowing what the long-term plan was. But obviously, I think there's a big difference between going to 2311 in Cup and going to the front row in Cup. Huge
Right.
difference between the two.
I mean, I think is going to be patient because I thought back to when he competed in the car store and, he raced for his dad for years. Didn't seem like he was ever going to step away or ever do anything different with his career, but sure enough, front row picked him up. Granted, stayed in the Ford camp, and then Scott's connections with front row, just being a long. Scott's always been a great guy in the garage. Um, I think, that kind of helped, but I feel like Lane could be pretty loyal. He seems like a very loyal driver. But you're right though, money can talk, and Lane's. I mean, he's with Ford. We really don't know how good front row is overall, but like Zane Smith and Lane Riggs have been the only two like standouts, I feel like, from front row. You can include Todd Gillen, you can include Chandler Smith, but the two that have really always just shown up were Zane Smith and Lane Riggs. So yeah, we'll find out. Hopefully maybe he'll get one more year, but it wouldn't be a surprise if somebody swept him up.
Yeah, like we're talking, like apparently Austin Hill to the 33 in Cup is not a done deal,
I
and
don't think it should be.
apparently things are kind of at an impasse. So like,
Well,
is someone like Elaine Riggs in that discussion
yeah.
to jump up to Cup and RCR?
I
I mean,
I
is
really
that?
don't think it would hurt Lane to do what Corey Haim did and to go to Cup. The manufacturer
I
switch
really
could be
think.
different.
I mean, I really think going from trucks to Cup is more beneficial than going from O'Reilly to Cup
Yeah,
because the trucks are more similar to the Cup cars than the O'Reilly cars are, and I feel like there's a bigger learning curve going from O'Reilly now to the Cup series, as you've seen with Connor Zilisch.
true.
I mean, Corey Heim really didn't run many O'Reilly races, and he seems to have adapted to the Cup car relatively quickly.
Yeah. He and the only couple guys I can think of are him and Ryan Blaney. Everybody
Hmm.
else, pretty much had to go up the ladder, but it seemed like it kind of slowed down what could have been extra years of, driving talent they could have displayed in the Cup Series. But you're right. I mean, and I honestly think Lane's, you give him a solid car and a solid crew chief and you know, he'll run top 10. It won't take long. I don't think it's going to be, I think granted, I said that for Connor Zilisch, but I did not think Trackhouse would be as off as they were. I really thought Connor was going to be competing well, and I think he would be if the cars were better. And Connor's made some mistakes, but I really think that Lane Riggs is somebody that can just go out there and no matter what the car is, just one of those. It kind of reminds me in a way of like kind of a Corey Haim, I guess. Where
Hmm.
you can just you put him behind anything and Lane's going to go fast. He's going to be the guy to beat.
No, absolutely. So we'll see what happens Saturday in New Hampshire in terms of the truck series, see how the chase kind of plays out. If I had to take a guess, I think the 10 in right now are going to be your 10. It's just a
Yep.
matter of how they're seated. And then I really think it's because Lane Riggs essentially has the regular season locked up. He'll be the number one seed, barring a full on collapse. Like he finishes outside of the top 30 and Honeycutt gets stage points and wins the race because Honeycutt's 61 back. And so I think Riggs will start with a 25-point lead over Honeycutt. And I mean, O'Reilly, we'll talk about them next week, but that they're not racing this week. They'll be at Daytona. Then the Cup Series, there will be one spot left after this week. And Ryan Preece will have to cut the gap here if he's going to have any legit chance at catching SVG before going to Daytona. Because if you're not making up 50 points at Daytona, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a.
And the way the RFK cars have just disappeared, they have been non-factors for about 2 months now.
I just think of Chris Buescher. You always see him top five, top eight. Where's he been? He's not even been there. And if he's not there,
Yeah,
sure as hell Ryan Preece and Brett
Keselowski
Keselowski
are.
aren't going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, this was the sixth team that was in the top 10 of the points for the first half of this regular season. They are now 19th in points, in danger of falling even farther back, just complete free fall. And Ryan Priest, they can complain about that 25-point penalty at Texas they got, but it's not going to matter right now the way it looks.
I mean, he kind of started going downhill with some mistakes that he didn't need to make, and yeah, Brad's just been caught up in some unfortunate things, and then also, he had the wreck in practice at Iowa that just was unfortunate for him, but driver error probably more than anything, or soft tires. They've cost themselves a chance at having all three guys in the top 16 in points. Um, I think I looked at the Ryan Priest thing though. I think Ryan Priest has the best chance, and probably, I mean, there's not really a lot of chances left. We just have New Hampshire and Daytona. I think Ryan Priest could have a really good race in New Hampshire and get some good stage points at Daytona to make up something. But I just don't see Shane having a bad enough race in New Hampshire and Daytona for that to be able to fall apart. But we've got 2 weeks to find out.
Absolutely. So we will find out. New Hampshire this week. Can't wait to get there. Enjoy the racing there. And
Are
we'll get
you are you sorry to interrupt you, but are you going to go to the Whelen modified race?
not gonna make it up there in time for that. Unfortunately, stuck working tomorrow, so or well today if you're listening to this. And then not leave until Saturday morning. Won't make it up to the track in time for that. But gonna take in the gonna go to the Boston Red Sox game Saturday night, go to Fenway Park, cross off another stadium I haven't been to. So that should be nice. And then go to the track Sunday. And then come back Monday. So just a quick little weekend. Get out of New Jersey and up into the New England area. So it'll be very nice. And I will get to share my experience with everyone next Tuesday or Wednesday on the recap pod. And then we got Daytona. And then it's a wrap on the regular season. That's how quickly this season's gone by. We've only got 12 races left.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I can appreciate it a little more when I go to the races and kind of I feel like for me that actually slows the season down, but when you kind of get caught up in the work week and the weekend comes and you're like, well, I'm just ready for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the races. And they just go bang, 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 and then you're back to
Hmm.
work. Just for some reason that feels like it flies by a little bit more. So yeah, I think we've got a good weekend that to look forward to, and definitely looking forward to Daytona. But also really looking forward to getting into the end of the chase and seeing how that'll play out.
Absolutely. So thanks for listening. If you made it the full hour and 13 minutes with us, we appreciate it. If you haven't, follow us, Forward Field Podcast, on all social media platforms. We appreciate all the interactions, all the follows, everything you guys do. For us, we appreciate it. So for Wes and Dom, we'll talk to you next week after New Hampshire.